All right, so are you ready for some cinematic therapy?
Sounds intense.
It is. Because today we're diving deep into wild tales.
Yeah.
You know that Argentinian film from 2014?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
The one that takes like those everyday frustrations we all have and cranks them up to like 11.
Right. Takes it to the extreme.
To a gloriously destructive 11. We've got your notes.
Awesome.
And some seriously insightful analysis here.
Excited to hear it.
To unpack.
Yeah.
And trust me, this one is going to stay with you.
Yeah. Wild Tales, it's interesting because it doesn't just show these like outrageous scenarios.
Right.
It makes you feel them. You're laughing one minute and then the next you're cringing. And the whole time there's this tension.
Yeah.
Like a rubber band about to snap.
It's like watching those road rage videos everyone shares online.
Right.
But like instead of just yelling, someone actually like does something.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
And then you're left thinking, part of me kind of gets it.
That's the brilliance of it. It's like director Damián Szifron, he's tapping into like that primal part of us, the part that just wants to lash out when, life throws its curveballs. Not that he's condoning it, but it's definitely making us confront it.
Okay, so let's break down these wild tales.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it.
One by one. Because each one takes like a different flavor of crazy and just runs with it.
Okay, cool.
All right, so story number 1, Pasternak.
Okay.
Starts innocently enough on a plane, but as these passengers start, chatting, they realize they all have a connection to the pilot. And let's just say it isn't a frequent flyer club anyone wants to be in.
Got it.
This one really sets the stage for the whole film.
It does, yeah.
Right. Because it shows how like these seemingly small actions, things we might just brush off in our own lives, can have these massive ripple effects.
Right.
What seems insignificant to one person
totally
can completely derail another's life.
And it really makes you think, what if someone was keeping track of all your missteps?
Oh, yeah.
All those moments where you weren't your best self.
Yeah.
Unsettling.
For sure.
To say the least.
All right. Next up is The Rats.
Oh, okay.
And if you've ever had a bad experience with a waiter, this one will make you think twice before sending your food back.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
So we've got a waitress in this greasy spoon diner, and she recognizes a customer. Turns out this guy did something terrible to her family in the past.
Wow. Okay, so this story is so interesting because it throws you right into this moral dilemma.
Right.
Like, what would you do in that situation?
Totally.
Would you seek revenge?
Yeah.
Try to move on? I mean, Szifron doesn't give you, like, easy answers. He just lays it out and lets the tension simmer.
Yeah. And you can practically smell the stale coffee and feel the grime of that diner.
Oh, for sure.
It just adds to this whole feeling of, well, something bad is about to happen.
It's like that diner is a microcosm of society where all these unspoken grudges and power imbalances are always bubbling beneath the surface.
Okay, story 3, the strongest. Buckle up.
Okay.
Because this one is pure road rage.
Oh, no.
But dialed up to 1,000.
Right.
2 guys on this deserted highway, they get into it, and things escalate so quickly. I'm talking a shouting match.
Oh, gee.
So, well, let's just say you'll never look at a tire iron the same way again.
It sounds intense, yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is primal.
Yeah.
It strips away, like, all pretense of civilization and just shows you what happens when ego and aggression take over. It's like watching a nature documentary.
Right.
But about 2 stags fighting for dominance.
Exactly, yeah.
But with cars and a much more disturbing ending.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
But it makes you wonder about those moments where we let our anger get the best of us, even in small ways. Is that road rage really worth it?
Totally, because even like a minor outburst can have consequences that we just don't anticipate.
All right, story 4. Little Bomb.
Little Bomb, okay.
This one's for anyone who's ever gotten a parking ticket or dealt with soul-crushing bureaucracy. We've got a demolition expert named Simon whose car gets towed.
Right.
And well, let's just say he decides to fight back.
Oh, no.
In a very explosive way.
Okay. What's so brilliant about this one is it's got this dark humor that Szifron injects into it.
Oh, yeah.
you almost find yourself rooting for Simon, even though you know what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like a commentary on how these systems that we deal with every day are designed to drive us crazy.
It's like we all have that line.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes those seemingly small injustices push us closer and closer to it.
Right, exactly.
But in Simon's case, his line is attached to a whole lot of dynamite.
Yeah.
Makes you think, what would it take to push you that far?
Yeah, it's a scary thought,
but
a necessary one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to the proposal.
The proposal. All right.
This one dives into the world of wealth and privilege. And let's just say, money can't always buy you happiness.
Yeah.
But it can buy you a whole lot of shady cover-ups. You got a wealthy family trying to protect their son, who's involved in a hit and run.
Okay, this one is a slow burn.
Yeah.
But the tension is palpable.
Oh, yeah.
You see this family who think they're above the law slowly start to unravel as they realize the lengths they have to go to protect their son.
And it makes you think about the systems of power.
Right.
How they often benefit the wealthy, while those without resources just get trapped. It's a theme that resonates throughout the whole film.
It's not just about the money. It's about the arrogance that comes with it.
Yeah.
That belief that you're somehow immune to the rules that everyone else has to follow.
All right, last but not least, we've got Till Death Do Us Part.
Okay.
And it's probably safe to say that this is the wildest of wild tales.
Oh, all right.
We start with a wedding, which is already a recipe for drama.
For sure.
But then the bride discovers her new husband's infidelity.
Oh, geez.
And let's just say this is not your typical wedding reception.
I can imagine.
The bride goes full-on revenge mode.
Oh, wow.
And it's a glorious spectacle of chaos and catharsis. It's like all the pent-up emotions of the entire film are unleashed in this one explosive finale.
She's not just getting back at her husband.
No.
She's getting back at, like, all the injustices.
Yes.
All the betrayals, all the little things that build up and make you want to scream. And honestly, you can't help but cheer her on. Even as things spiral completely out of control, there's this sense of liberation of finally saying, enough is enough.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that sometimes you just got to let go and embrace the wildness.
So we've laid out the 6 wild tales.
Yeah.
Each one unique, but all connected by this thread of like human nature pushed to the extreme. But before we dive deeper into what it all means.
Okay, yeah.
Let's take a moment to really appreciate the craftsmanship of this film. Because Szifron doesn't just tell a story.
Right.
He creates an experience.
He does, yeah. And that's where it gets interesting. Wild Tales, it isn't just about the stories, it's about how those stories are told.
Yeah.
Szifron is a master. Like, he uses every cinematic tool to ratchet up the tension, the humor, the sheer intensity of every scene.
It's like he's playing with your emotion.
Oh, totally.
One minute you're laughing, the next you're gasping. And then you're hiding behind your fingers because you can't look away, even though you kind of want to.
Exactly. And you can't forget the music. Gustavo Santaolalla, the composer, he doesn't just create a soundtrack. He creates a whole emotional landscape for each story. It's like the music is a character in itself. Sometimes whispering in your ear, sometimes screaming in your face.
Yeah. Like in The Rats, remember how the music slowly builds as the waitress is debating whether to poison the customer?
Yeah.
It's like this slow burning fuse and you're just waiting for the explosion.
It's brilliant. It mirrors her internal struggle so perfectly.
Yeah.
And then in The Strongest, when those two guys are going at it on the highway, the music becomes this like percussive, almost animalistic beat. It's like you're right there in the car with them, feeling that adrenaline, the rage.
And then Till Death Do Us Part, where it becomes this crazy tango, electronica fusion that perfectly captures the chaotic energy of that wedding gone wrong.
Right, exactly.
You can't help but move to it, even as you're horrified by what's happening on screen.
It's like Szifron and Santaolalla are playing this duet, each one building on the other to create this incredibly immersive experience. You're not just watching this film, you're feeling it in your bones.
That's okay. But it's not just the music.
Yeah.
The cinematography is doing some heavy lifting here, too.
Absolutely.
Each story has a distinct visual style.
Yeah, totally.
Like a different filter on Instagram, but for emotions.
It's true. In The Strongest, for example, you have the wide open landscapes of the Argentinian pampas becoming a character in themselves.
Totally.
Have you ever been somewhere so vast and empty that it feels both exhilarating and terrifying at the same time?
Yes.
That's the feeling that Szifron captures here.
Right.
And it makes the character's rage seem even more explosive.
It's like that landscape is a mirror to their inner emptiness.
Yes.
Their loneliness. Their desperate need to prove something.
Exactly. And then you have Little Bomb, which takes place in the heart of Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
It's cramped, chaotic, full of visual noise.
Yes.
You can almost feel the pressure building on Simon as he navigates this urban jungle that seems designed to frustrate him at every turn.
It's like the city itself is pushing him towards that breaking point.
Right, exactly.
And then there's the color palette, which is so deliberate in each story.
Yes.
Like in the Rats, everything is washed out.
Right.
These drab yellows and browns reflecting the grittiness of the diner and the moral ambiguity of the situation.
It's like all the vibrancy has been sucked out of the world, leaving only this bleakness that reflects the waitress's internal struggle.
And then, in stark contrast, you have Till Death Do Us Part.
Right.
Which explodes with color, especially reds and oranges, mirroring the passionate, volatile emotions that are driving the story.
It's like those colors are erupting from the characters themselves. The anger, the lust, the desire for revenge.
Right.
It's a visual feast, but it's also a warning sign.
Yeah, like those bright colors you see in nature, warning you that something is poisonous or dangerous.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got music, cinematography, color.
Yeah.
What about the editing? How does Szifron use editing to control the pace and build the tension?
The editing is crucial, especially in an anthology film where you're jumping between all these different stories and tones. Szifron uses these quick cuts to create this jarring, unsettling feeling, especially during the moments of violence.
Like in The Strongest, that car chase scene.
Oh, yeah.
Those rapid cuts between the two vehicles. The close-ups on their faces. It's like you're in a boxing ring. Each punch landing with a visceral thud.
It's pure adrenaline, you know?
Yeah.
Just designed to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Right.
And then he switches to these long, slow takes to draw you into a character's emotional state.
Like in The Proposal, when the father is trying to bribe the groundskeeper to take the fall for his son, the camera just stays on their faces, capturing every micro expression, every flicker of doubt, guilt, desperation.
You're forced to just sit with the weight of their decision, the moral implications of their actions.
Yeah.
It's incredibly effective. Shows Szifron's mastery of cinematic language.
And then there are those moments where he uses jump cuts for comedic effect.
Right.
Creating this almost slapstick feel, even as the story is dealing with some pretty dark subject matter.
Like in Little Bomb, when Simon's rigging his car to explode.
Yeah.
Those sudden jumps between him setting the timer and the bureaucrats going about their day, completely oblivious to the impending chaos.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It is.
And terrifying at the same time.
Yes, it's like Szifron is saying.
It's like he's saying.
Look at the absurdity of it all. These systems we create.
Yeah.
These petty rules, they drive us to do crazy things.
And he's not wrong.
No.
I mean, we've all felt that frustration, that urge to just blow it all up, even if it's just metaphorically.
So we've got the music, the visuals, the editing, all working together to create this truly immersive, unforgettable experience.
Yeah.
But what ties it all together? What makes Wild Tales more than just a collection of crazy stories? I mean, it's the themes, right?
It is, yeah.
Each story, it stands on its own, but they're all connected by these threads of revenge, justice, societal pressure. It's like Szifron is holding up a mirror to the human condition and saying, look at what we're capable of when we're pushed too far.
Wild Tales, it's not just entertaining.
No.
It's social commentary.
Yeah.
It makes us question the systems we live in, the power structures that shape our lives, the ways that we interact with each other.
And it does it in a way that's both provocative and wildly entertaining.
Oh, totally.
It's not preachy. It's not trying to give you answers.
Right.
It's just presenting these scenarios and letting you draw your own conclusions.
And that's what makes it so brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it sparks conversations, it challenges our perspectives, and it stays with you long after the credits roll.
Okay, so let's talk about the impact this film has had.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just a hit in Argentina.
Right.
This became like a global phenomenon.
It did.
It premiered at Cannes to rave reviews, got nominated for an Oscar, and like people all over the world were talking about it.
It's like, it struck a nerve, right?
Yeah.
Because those themes, that frustration, the anger, the desire for revenge, I mean, they're universal.
Totally.
We all experience them, regardless of where we live or what our background is.
You know, it's funny. After I watched Wild Tales, I started seeing those Wild Tales everywhere.
Right.
Like that guy who flipped out at the barista because his latte wasn't hot enough.
Right.
Or that woman who cut off a whole line of cars just to get one space ahead. It's like Szifron opened my eyes to the chaos that's always simmering beneath the surface of everyday life.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what's our breaking point?
Oh, yeah.
What would it take to push us over the edge?
It is a scary thought, but it's also liberating in a way.
Right.
Because it makes you realize that you have a choice.
Yeah.
You can either let those frustrations control you, or you can find a way to channel them, to deal with them in a healthy way.
And that's where the humor comes in, because Wild Tales isn't just about the darkness. It's about finding, like, the absurdity in it all.
Right.
The irony. The moments that make you laugh, even as you're shaking your head in disbelief.
Totally.
It's like he's saying, look, life is messed up. People are crazy, but let's not take it all too seriously.
Yeah.
And that laughter, I think, is part of what makes the film so powerful.
Right.
It disarms you.
Yeah.
It allows you to process these difficult emotions without feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But he pulls it off masterfully.
He does. So to wrap things up, Wild Tales is a film that stays with you.
It does, yeah.
It's a reminder that we're all capable of great things and terrible things.
Right.
And that the choices we make have consequences. But it's also a celebration of the human spirit.
It is.
Our resilience, our ability to find humor and beauty, even in the darkest of times.
It's a film that asks more questions than it answers, and that's what makes it so valuable.
Totally.
It's a conversation starter, a catalyst for introspection and debate.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's a reminder that life is a wild ride.
Right.
And we're all just trying to navigate it the best we can.
So if you're looking for a film that will make you think, laugh, and maybe even squirm in your seat a little bit, Wild Tales is a must-see.
It is, yeah.
It's a cinematic experience you won't soon forget.
And that, my friend, is the power of great art.
Yeah.
It challenges us, it moves us, and it leaves us with a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive into Wild Tales. But the conversation doesn't have to end here.
No.
We encourage you to watch the film, share your thoughts, and keep exploring the wild world of cinema.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep diving deep.